Hello everyone, welcome to the course on Early Childhood Development Guidance. I am teacher Lee Wendy. Today we will learn about the emotional and social development and learning support for toddlers aged 31-36 months. Today's content will be divided into 5 parts. First, why we should focus on the emotional and social development of 31 to 36-month-old toddlers. Second, typical characteristics of emotional and social development in toddlers aged 31 to 36 months. Third, targeted learning support strategies, from understanding to guiding. Fourth, common misconceptions. These well-intentioned practices may hinder development. Fifth, summary and practical reflection. Why we should focus on the emotional and social development of 31 to 36-month-old toddlers. Dear students, when you see a child around 3 years old clinging to their mother, crying and unwilling to go to kindergarten, or proactively sharing toys with a little friend, these are actually external signals of their emotional and social development. The period of 31 to 36 months is a critical one where children's emotional experiences transition from self-centered to focusing on others, and their social interactions shift from passive to active. The emotional regulation abilities and interaction patterns formed at this stage will influence their future interpersonal relationships, emotion management, and even character formation. For example, a child who learns to correctly express anger at this time is less likely to exhibit impulsive behavior when grown up. A child who often experiences being accepted finds it easier to build self-confidence. Today, let's analyze the developmental patterns and support methods for this stage together. Typical characteristics of emotional and social development in toddlers aged 31 to 36 months. To provide effective support, we must first accurately identify the developmental characteristics of young children. This stage can be summarized as richer emotions, breakthroughs in socialization. Specifically, it can be divided into 2 main dimensions: emotional development, from overt emotional expression to preliminary regulation. Emotional experiences become more nuanced. Besides basic emotions like happiness and anger, they begin to show jealousy, pouting when mom holds another child, pride, holding up their foot to show off after putting on their shoes by themselves, feeling wronged, pouting, and about to cry when misunderstood, and other complex emotions. However, their expression remains relatively direct and unhidden. Can initially control emotions. Previously, crying might last for more than 10 minutes. Now, with adult guidance, for example, let's take a deep breath first, then tell the teacher what's wrong. They can calm down within 3 to 5 minutes. But they still rely on external help and cannot regulate completely independently. Emotional attachments become more stable. Attachment to primary caregivers, mom, teacher, deepens. They feel reluctant when separating, but they know mom will come to pick me up in the afternoon. So, separation anxiety lessens compared to age 2. They can accept brief separations. Social development, from solitary play to budding cooperation. Social circle expands. They no longer interact only with family members. They actively approach peers in kindergarten. For example, moving closer to watch others build with blocks. They try saying, "Can I play too?" But their interaction skills are still simple. Conflicts like grabbing toys often occur. Sharing awareness emerges. With adult prompting, they are willing to share toys with others. For example, let your little brother play with your car, he will be happy. But they are not yet capable of proactive, voluntary sharing. After sharing, they might change their minds and ask for the toy back. Begin to understand rules. They can follow simple group rules, such as lining up for the slide or washing hands before meals. But they occasionally forget. They need gentle reminders from adults. They don't understand the reasoning behind rules. For example, why can't I cut in line? Targeted learning support strategies, from understanding to guiding, based on the aforementioned characteristics. Support strategies should revolve around accepting emotions, teaching interaction skills, and fostering rule awareness. The core principle is, first connect with their emotions, then guide their behavior. Avoid lecturing emotional support. Accept emotions, teach expression rather than suppression. Step 1. Respond with empathy. Acknowledge the emotion. When a young child is crying or having a tantrum, don't say, "Don't cry, be brave." Instead, first accept it. Mommy knows you don't want to part with the toy, you feel sad. Make the child feel that my emotions are seen. Then guide them to express. You can tell Mommy, I want to play a little longer and we can discuss it together. Step 2. Teach emotion words. Help children label emotions. Frequently, describe emotions in daily life. For example, when you grabbed the toy earlier, your brother frowned. He feels a bit angry. You finished the puzzle by yourself, aren't you happy? Help children learn to use words like angry, happy, wronged, instead of crying or tantrums. Social support. Teach specific skills. Help children learn to interact. Teach methods for initiating interactions friendly. Use role-playing to demonstrate how to invite a friend to play. For example, you can say, "Can I build blocks with you?" Or you can share one of your small blocks with her. This prevents children from directly grabbing toys because they don't know how to ask. Teach simple methods for resolving conflicts. When a toy dispute occurs, guide children to use taking turns. You can each play for 5 minutes, use a timer. Or exchanging toys, you trade your car for his bear, then both of you get to play with a new toy. Do not force them to give in to others. Protect the child's sense of ownership. Rule support. Use real-life scenarios to help children understand rules. Make rules visual, post hand-washing, step charts near the kindergarten sink. Post toy home charts in the play area. For example, blocks go in the red bin, dolls go in the blue bin. Let children understand what to do through pictures, rather than memorizing written rules by rote. Co-create rules. For example, when establishing classroom toy rules, ask the children, where should we put toys after playing so they don't get lost? How can we all play on the slide without bumping into each other? Involve children in the discussion. They are more willing to follow rules they have agreed to. Common misconceptions. These well-intentioned practices may hinder development in providing emotional and social support. Many adults easily fall into the misconception of focusing on the outcome while ignoring the process. This can actually hinder child development. Misconception 1. Suppressing emotions. Stop crying. If you cry, you're not a good child. When a child expresses negative emotions, forcing suppression makes them feel that being angry or wronged is bad and shouldn't be expressed. Long-term, this may lead to pent-up emotions. They may not handle negative emotions properly when grown up. The correct approach is allow crying, teach expression. For example, you can cry for a while. When you feel calmer, we can talk about what's wrong. Misconception 2. Orchestrating social interactions. Here, give the toy to your brother. You need to be generous. Adults forcing children to share. Makes children feel my things will be taken away, I have no say. This makes them more resistant to sharing. The correct approach is respect, ownership, guide sharing. For example, first ask, are you willing to share your toy with your brother for 5 minutes? If the child is unwilling, do not force it. Instead, say then, when you're finished playing, ask your brother if he would like to play with it. Misconception 3. Rules over people. We said we need to line up. Why are you cutting in again? When a child forgets a rule, if adults scold loudly, it makes the child feel, I didn't follow the rule, I am a bad child. This damages their self-confidence. The correct approach is remind about the rule, teach the method. For example, say softly, we agreed earlier that we need to line up. Look, everyone is waiting behind. If you line up here, it will be your turn soon. Summary and practical reflection. Dear students, today we organized the 2 key dimensional characteristics and 3 major support strategies for the emotional and social development of 36-month-old toddlers. The core point to remember is, support at this stage is not about teaching children how to be obedient, but about helping children learn to understand their own emotions, respect others' needs, and master interaction skills. Finally, here is a small practical task for everyone. Based on what you learned today, think about how would you handle a situation where 2-3-year-olds in kindergarten are fighting over a toy. Next class, we will simulate scenarios in groups. Let's see whose approach both respects the children and effectively guides them to learn how to interact. Emotional and social development is a slow process. It requires us to be patient and empathetic. Be the children's emotional listener and social guide. I hope everyone in your future work can truly use scientific methods to support the healthy growth of every child. This concludes today's lesson. Thank you, everyone.